Muscle trucks today sell like hotcakes. The Ram TRX with its supercharged V8, the Shelby Raptors tearing up desert trails, even performance Silverados have found their place in the market. But here's what most people don't know. This entire billion-dollar segment exists because of one insane experiment from the 1960s. Long before Ford put a lightning bolt on anything, Dodge was building street-legal drag trucks that could embarrass sports cars while hauling your groceries. These weren't concept vehicles or marketing stunts. They were real production trucks you could actually buy, and they were so rare that most people didn't even know they existed. Stick around because the story of how the muscle truck revolution started is wilder than you think. Dick Boynton wasn't a professional race driver. He was a radio DJ from San Diego with a crazy idea. In 1963, he took a regular Dodge D100 pickup truck and stuffed a 413 cubic inch Max Wedge engine under the hood. This wasn't some half-baked garage project either. The engine cranked out 420 horsepower, which sounds modest today, but was absolutely nuclear for 1963. He called it the Dragmaster, and it became a legend almost overnight. When Boynton showed up at the NHRA Winternationals in Pomona, California, nobody took him seriously. Pickup trucks weren't supposed to be at drag strips. They were for contractors and farmers, not racers. Then the lights dropped, and Boynton launched that D100 down the quarter mile. The truck won the factory experimental class, leaving Dodge executives scratching their heads and competitors scrambling for excuses. Here was a vehicle meant for hauling fence posts, running times that would embarrass most hot rods of the era. Ford noticed too. They had their own experimental F100XL running strong on the East Coast circuit, proving this wasn't just a West Coast fluke. The racing success created a problem for Dodge. They had this incredible publicity from Boynton's wins, but nothing in their showrooms to capitalize on it. Muscle cars were just starting to emerge with the Pontiac GTO hitting the scene in 1964. But trucks were still viewed purely as workhorses. The market didn't think anyone would buy a performance truck. Dodge decided to take the gamble anyway. If a DJ could build a winning race truck in his garage, surely Dodge could build something even better on a production line. But turning a race truck into something you could actually buy at a dealership would prove far more complicated than anyone expected. In 1964, Dodge introduced the Custom Sports Special package for the D100. For $235, you got bucket seats borrowed from the Dart, a console yanked from the Polara, armrests, sun visors, and an interior that didn't feel like a punishment. People thought Dodge had lost their minds. Why would anyone want luxury in a work truck? Sales were slow because truck buyers wanted utility, not comfort. The CSS was a hard sell on its own. Then came the real bombshell. Dodge quietly offered something called the High Performance Package. The price tag was $1,235, which was nearly two-thirds the cost of the base truck itself. For context, you could buy a decent used car for that kind of money in 1964. The package wasn't advertised in magazines or promoted at dealerships. If you wanted one, you basically had to know someone who knew someone. Dodge planned to build maybe 50 of these trucks between 1964 and 1966, though exact numbers remain a mystery to this day. Building these trucks was a nightmare. When an order came in, a regular D100 had to be pulled off the assembly line mid-production. Workers would cut the frame, remove the cross member, and install custom brackets by hand. The dual exhaust system required serious modifications to fit properly. Rear traction bars had to be welded in place to handle the torque. Everything was manual labor because automating the process for such limited production made no financial sense whatsoever. Under the hood sat the 426 cubic inch Street Wedge V8, a detuned version of Dodge's racing Max Wedge motor. It pumped out 365 horsepower at 4,800 revs per minute and a staggering 470 pound-feet of torque at just 3,200 revs per minute. The compression ratio hit 10.3 to 1, and the displacement numbers were massive for the era. Most trucks in 1964 struggled to break 200 horsepower even with their biggest engines. The D100 HPP doubled that figure and did it with authority. Performance numbers were shocking. These trucks hit 60 miles per hour in under 8 seconds and ran the quarter mile in the mid-15-second range. The 1964 GTO, which essentially kicked off the muscle car wars, ran quarter miles in the 14 to 15-second range stock. A pickup truck was matching one of the hottest muscle cars of the decade. The beauty of the HPP trucks was their complete lack of flash. There were almost no visual cues to tell you what lurked under the hood. Most buyers paired the HPP with the CSS package for the ultimate street truck experience, but some people skipped the luxury entirely and ordered just the performance package. Those trucks were the ultimate sleepers. You'd see what looked like a regular work truck pull up, then watch it vanish in a cloud of tire smoke. Every HPP truck came with a 727 TorqueFlite 3-speed automatic transmission. Period reviewers warned drivers to be careful when flooring the throttle because of the light rear end. When that first to second shift hit, these trucks didn't just chirp the tires, they roasted them, especially with the optional 3.91 rear axle ratio. The trucks weighed just under 4,000 pounds on their 122-inch wheelbase, which wasn't light by car standards but was reasonable for a full-size steel truck of the 1960s. The suspension received upgrades to handle the additional power, including special torque bars on the rear axle for stability. A Sun brand tachometer was mounted on the dashboard so drivers could properly wind out that big V8. The 4-barrel carburetor and dual exhaust setup ensured the engine could breathe freely and make all its advertised power. Tracking surviving trucks today is nearly impossible. An unofficial registry lists 19 known CSS and HPP combo trucks, with one confirmed destroyed. Another source claims 27 or 28 exist. There are supposedly 12 HPP-only trucks still around, including one 1963 model with the 4.13 engine, plus 55 CSS-only packages. Public auctions are incredibly rare, and the condition of remaining trucks varies so wildly that establishing values is difficult. What's undeniable is that Dodge's competitors had nothing remotely comparable. Ford's biggest F100 engine was the 352 cubic inch V8. Chevy offered a 327 in the C10. Both made significantly less power than the Dodge. The D100 HPP stood alone in its own category. This lonely position at the top wouldn't last forever, but the impact these trucks made would echo for decades. The D100 HPP trucks faded into obscurity after production ended. They were too rare, too expensive, and too impractical for most buyers. For years, they were forgotten footnotes in automotive history. Then the muscle truck DNA resurfaced in 1978 with the Lil Red Express, a wild street truck that brought attitude back to Dodge's lineup. It carried the torch, but didn't have the raw racing heritage of the original. The Dakota Shelby trucks of the late 1980s kept the flame alive, proving there was still demand for performance pickups. Then Dodge went absolutely nuclear with the Ram SRT-10, dropping a Viper V10 engine into a pickup truck. That 500 horsepower monster showed the world that muscle trucks weren't just nostalgic throwbacks, but viable modern performance vehicles. The real spiritual successor arrived in 2021 with the Ram TRX, packing a supercharged 6.2-liter V8 cranking out 702 horsepower. The TRX dominated the muscle truck segment. It could sprint to 60 miles per hour in 4.5 seconds and run the quarter mile in the high 12-second range. The price tag started around $96,000, making it exponentially more expensive than those $3,500 D100 HPP trucks from 1964, but also exponentially more capable. The TRX proved muscle trucks were big business. Ford countered with the Raptor R, Chevy built the Silverado ZR2, and suddenly every manufacturer wanted a piece of the high-performance truck market. The 2024 TRX Final Edition seemed to mark the end of an era, but Ram announced the TRX would return for 2026, ensuring the bloodline continues. Every one of these modern monsters traces its heritage directly back to those hand-built D100 trucks that almost nobody bought. The muscle truck segment is now worth billions of dollars annually. Ram, Ford, and Chevrolet all compete aggressively for performance truck buyers who want capability and speed. This entire market exists because Dodge took an insane risk in 1964 by building something nobody asked for. The D100 HPP proved that trucks could be more than workhorses, that performance and utility could coexist in the same package. What separates the D100 from everything that came after is its purity of purpose. Dodge didn't build it to create a new market segment or boost brand image. They built it because they could, because racing success demanded a response, and because engineers wanted to see if it was even possible. The financial logic was terrible, the production process was a nightmare, and sales were abysmal. Yet those trucks became the foundation for an entirely new category of vehicles. Today's TRX drivers and Raptor R owners are participating in a tradition that started over 60 years ago with a handful of modified D100 pickups. The technology has advanced dramatically, but the core appeal remains identical. Obscene amounts of power in a practical package that can haul your stuff on Monday and humiliate sports cars on Saturday. The shift from viewing trucks purely as work vehicles to accepting them as performance machines represents one of the automotive industry's most significant cultural changes. The D100 HPP started that conversation long before anyone was ready to have it. As we move toward an electric future where muscle trucks might run on batteries instead of gasoline, those original 50 or so D100 HPP trucks stand as reminders of when automotive lunacy was still acceptable, when accountants could be overruled, and when engineers built things simply because they were awesome. So what do you think about these legendary trucks? Would you take a D100 HPP over a modern TRX? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed learning about the godfather of all muscle trucks. Subscribe for more deep dives into automotive history. Until next time, keep the rubber burning.